Well, mostly I've been pleasantly surprised by how supportive the writers seem of each other. I mean, there are people who will have quibbles with points here and there, but for the most part, they all seem to fixate on the things about each person's piece that were good, as if to say, sort of, okay, these things that are good, this is sort of what you do well, you need to write more like this.
With Klosterman, he had a really unique approach to the workshop because typically in my MFA program, you're not allowed to speak in the workshop or like really defend your piece. But Klosterman turned it into more involved roundtable discussion of your work. So he would ask us questions about what motivated us to write the piece, and what we hope to get out of the piece and what we hope to affect on the reader.
He really made you take responsibility for everything you wrote. So we would spend like half an hour or an hour on one person's piece, and he would just like fire questions at you, like, why did you write that? Or like on page 5, why did you put that in there? And then he was really good at like digging out the exact point of the piece, because sometimes someone would write at great length about something, and then he would read it and say, I don't know, to me this was not about your father, this was about like some totally different thing that you could totally like run with that you didn't think of. So that was really cool.
It can make the person feel a little better, because if they, people are supportive of it, they think like, well, I have an audience now, even if the audience is only 15 people. If they give a specific criticism, maybe they can change that and improve it. I think it has more to do with just being around other writers. I think that it's a good thing for these people who want to write to see how other people do it and to spend time with people who have the same interests, I mean, it seems really social in a positive way.
The people have been just amazing. I've really enjoyed everybody that I met here. I wouldn't be surprised if we know each other for a long time, and if we see each other again even, because we're really already talking about going to the more SLS events in different parts of the world. So
I've met a lot of people too from other places that I'll keep in touch with online and kind of follow their careers, and I find it really exciting to know people at the beginning of their careers.
And I think that's probably the most valuable aspect of the program, is just actually kind of getting in and meeting other people who are involved in your field, and kind of thinking about writing as kind of a social activity, because it's often quite a kind of individual pursuit.
I think one of the biggest problems with the institutionalization of creative writing, the proliferation of MFA programs over the last 15 years, is that it insulates writers to very small and specific communities. And what SLS allows you to do is get out of that community, reach out to other writers and aspiring writers who have been going through the same kind of experience, and put yourselves up against them, trade similar stories, see what keeps you together, what binds you, and also how you can accelerate and improve your writing by finding other writers from other communities. And even beyond that, and I think most important, is bringing that knowledge from SLS back to where you do your writing. And that's how we think SLS has a global reach that other programs don't have.
Well, I would say the SLS program, particularly because it has been able to draw so many international writers, and to have a perspective of some of the commonality of literary experience. And I think that's a very important thing to think about, is where, because so many people will come from their own experiences and may be wondering like how that translates, or how does my peculiar little spot in the world translate to the rest of the world. And seeing so much of the commonality of literary experience from people who've had much different backgrounds than you, and seeing what can be shared in that context. This seminar does an amazing job in presenting a literary adventure or literary experience in an international perspective, while still retaining some sense of, of where people come from, and celebrating that in a common way.
Well, SLS is different from other writing programs in a number of ways. In the character of the faculty that come here, who are the kinds of writers who don't necessarily traffic in the writing workshop and writing seminar circuit. But also in the fact that its most important faculty member in any given program is always the city in which it's taking place.
to myself and to lots of Americans that Montreal is a foreign place. It's a very attractive, very appealing, very interesting, very non-American-like. In effect, it's an outpost of Europe and North America. So in that sense, it sort of fits the SLS profile for going to places that provide transition of sorts.
I've never been here before. Montreal's it's a wonderful city, and I've just been walking everywhere. The plateau where we're staying is just like, the street life is fantastic. The cafes, restaurants, bars, people just wandering around. So it's been very enjoyable. There's a lot of attractive people in Montreal too.
Montreal is an amazing place. Like, it's very multicultural. It's a fashionable city. From the minute I got here, it would just seem like the city was like putting on a show for me, because I arrived here the weekend of Grand Prix, and so, you know, all the cars were out, and the Ferraris and Lamborghinis and everything, and then you know, sort of we fast forwarded into, you know, John the Baptist Day, and, you know, there were all kinds of activities going on around the city, and now, of course, the Jazz Festival. So it's just been really exciting, and there's all kinds of interesting shops and boutiques and cuisines that I've never had before. And it's also like very scenic. I've just taken hundreds of photos of the city, so it's really beautiful.
This city is so chill, and I like it. It's just cool. Sort of like a cold water drink on a hot day from anywhere else on the planet. It's the water fountain of the world, I think. Montreal is the water fountain of the world. Everyone is just so cool. It's such a cool city. Even the winos are polite. You know, this is Montreality.
Well, you know, Proust was the one who said to be a writer is to become a foreigner. Because if you don't like awaken to the nuance and detail of your world, right, you somehow can't manifest it realistically. So for me, the program is very much about becoming a foreigner and learning how to use that experience as a writer.
Je reviens à Montréal, la tête gonflée de nuages. C'est le transit d'Amsterdam qui s'est chargé du glaçage. Et je reviens à Montréal, le corps tatoué de visage.